Hello, all you hardcores. We're joined by Michael. How are you doing, Michael? You have to unmute yourself, mate. Unmute your fucking self.
I'm on now.
Oh, yeah? Fucking Jesus,
How
man.
you doing, Russell? You all
Well, I will be if I weren't having to mess around with weapons like you.
right? Sorry, mate. I've just come back from a run, as you know, so I've been a bit rushing to be fair, but I'm on now.
Right, right then, Sebco. Usyk, Dubois, what do you see
It-
happening?
It's on Saturday, isn't it? This week coming up, and should be a decent one. I think Daniel's going to the bank, isn't he? He's cashing out, but it's just going to be a human punch bag, I reckon, for Usyk.
Yeah. Do you think,
He's
Michael?
yeah.
No, go on. I was going to say to you, do you think that Usyk is just a little bit too seasoned for Dubois and it's a bit early for him?
I don't know about early for him. I don't think he'll ever be ready for someone that good, to be honest. He's just technically so good. His feet are so good. He moves just enough off the line. And Dubois is technically not very great, and he's got no chin, I don't think either. So I think it could be a short night work, to be honest. But I don't really think he's going to be that bothered. Is he what he's being paid for? I think he's quite happy, really, isn't he? He's got if he does land a big bomb, fair enough. But even if he doesn't, he's getting paid millions for a shot that really he probably didn't even deserve in the first place, did he? He's beat South African guy that was a nobody in his last fight, and yeah, he's just getting paid millions to go there and get battered, I reckon.
You made a good point there, Michael. He don't really deserve it, but he's got into position. His promoters lobbied for him, and he'd been paying the sanctioning
Mm.
fees every month or whatever they pay. He ended up with regular belts, so we can't deny him the slot. But my argument with it is this: whatever happened to Bricktop protecting his fighters till they were ready? He always used to make a big point about this for years, didn't he? About his fighters when they step up, they're ready. And we're seeing now that they're not ready. Either Dubois way off. He got pinged about by a light punching cruiserweight southpaw last time out, didn't he?
Yeah, but that's what I mean. I think Bricktop knows that he's never going to be ready, and he's paid him big purses for what he can afford, and he's probably realizing now this man's never going to get me my money back, and cashing out on him. And if he does land the Hail Mary shot, then he's quids in, isn't he? But everybody knows it's not going to happen, is it? That fight will end whenever Usyk decides to end the fight, basically.
Yeah, yeah. If he does, however, hmm, see, anything can happen in heavyweight boxing, but the odds on anything like this, if you go back through history and add up all the fights, it's something like 1 in 60. Every 1 in 60, there's a massive upset, isn't there?
Yeah,
Mike
I can't. I
Tyson.
don't think he's going
Oh,
to land it, but we'll see. Yeah, Mike Tyson beat Buster Douglas. That was
yeah,
one of them.
yeah. Then you've got
Lennox Lewis
Lennox
against
Lewis.
Jackman
Yeah, Lennox
twice.
beat
Oliver
Oliver
McCall.
McCall, and you got AJ
But
Ruiz.
yeah, but Usyk, I don't know. I mean, Dubois can punch. He was injured when he in that last fight, and he did knock the guy out. But the guy was small and a nobody really, wasn't he? But Usyk's not massive, is he? Do you know what I mean? I know Usyk's technically brilliant, but I would fancy Wilder to knock him out. To be honest, I know that might be a controversial opinion, but if Wilder hit him, I reckon. So if Dubois hits him, you never know. But I mean, I can just see Usyk pinging his head off all night. To be honest.
Who would you say is the bigger puncher, Usyk or Big Meech? Oh, sorry, Dubois or Big Meech?
From what I've seen,
Yeah.
now, right now, Dubois, probably.
Dubois a
But
bigger
I don't
puncher.
know. Yeah, he can punch, can't he? You can't deny that he can punch, but I just it depends because the level that he's boxing at, you don't know, do you? Like Big Meat should be knocking all these out as well, wouldn't he? So, and that punch he did land on Robert Hilarious was a big punch, wasn't it? But I don't know, he can punch, but he's
Would
just
you
technically like levels below, isn't he? Levels and levels below.
would you say, Michael, that Big Meech against Hilarious, would you say Hilarious were more knackered than anything else?
Yeah, when he knocked him out, yeah.
Mm.
And then he got dropped because he was tired and he probably was on the floor thinking, wow, you know, I've
Yeah.
done 6 rounds now. It's not an embarrassment. I've got my money. Do I really need this anymore? The fight before that he knocked the guy out was only scheduled for 6 rounds, wasn't it? So
Mm.
he'd done the maximum he'd trained for, really, hadn't he? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Uh, yeah, it's a tough one, but for me, they all keep going on about Daniel Dubois being this big puncher. Who has he dropped? Who's an elite fighter or a decent fighter? Even just a decent one. He couldn't put a dint in Joe Joyce, could he?
Yeah, but he was nobody could at the time, could they? Do you know what I mean? But I don't know. You can. When I've watched him fight, some of the sounds of the punches, they do sound like he can punch. Do you know what I mean? That sounds a bit weird, but
Mm.
when he's like landing on these guys, even that South African bloke he fought the last fight, when he was hitting him, it sounded fucking hell. He's hitting him hard. Oh, sorry about that, yeah, but you know, he's hitting him hard.
Mm.
But I don't know. We'll see. I hope he wins. To be honest, like he's a British guy, isn't he? I hope he wins, but I can't see him winning.
If he does win, are we going to see a bricktop domination?
Well, we'll see, won't we? I mean, if he does win, you've got obviously Bricktop's got Tyson Fury, then he's got Dubois. If Joe Joyce does beat Zhang, which I don't think he will, if he does, then he's got three of them, hasn't he? The thing I don't understand with all this is how obviously Joyce has just lost to Zhang, but how Dubois got this regular shot against Trevor Bryant before Joe Joyce anyway, I don't get. After he beat him, how he managed, because obviously in that fight, he was obviously in Dubois' corner, wasn't he, Bricktop? I know he promoted both of them, but he made no mistake which one he wanted to win. And even though he lost, he's still done a better job for Dubois than he has for Joyce, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, good point. Good point mate. Obviously, you've been doing your own work, haven't you?
On that one, yeah.
On that one, yeah, but no else by the looks of it.
I haven't been watching it this week. I was in Leeds having a big night Friday for the baggies, wasn't I?
Did you win?
Nah, 1-1, but that was like good for us.
Are
We
you,
were happy with that.
are you coming up to
Nah, no
no.
chance.
Are you a better
No,
team than Sheffield United?
no. They
No.
battered us last year, 5-0. No, they've hammered us.
I know a little blonde that follows Sheffield United. She's obsessed by him, and she'll be buzzing off that.
What, I've just said that.
Yeah, I don't know what team she don't like. I don't think she's keen on Millwall because whenever Sheffield United go down there, they get run ragged, don't they, by fans? It's all
So
quite
it'll be
much.
Millwall, Sheffield Wednesday.
It's what?
It'll be Millwall and Sheffield Wednesday. She hates them.
Oh yeah, well she don't like Millwall, and I don't think they like Wednesdays. They call them pigs, don't they? Because their ground's a bit of a.
Yeah.
But
The good night out though, Leeds. We had a big night out there the other day.
did you enjoy it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was all right. What else we got on then, Russell?
So we covered the. So you've got Usyk to win in whatever round he wants to win in. Then yeah.
Less than 6, I reckon.
Are
I
you?
don't think Usyk's obviously a massive puncher, but I
Yeah.
think Dubois is a bit chinny as well. He's
I
got
think
dropped a few times on his side.
I think what it is with Usyk, he seems to weigh him up, doesn't he? He lets
Yeah,
them have the at beginning of the fight. He lets them sort of do what they want, and he's sort of seeing what they've got in. He's like a computer, isn't he? That's why I felt he was like
yeah,
Bellew, and you always felt that he was smiling all the way through it, and they were working really hard, and then he just goes through the gears, doesn't he?
yeah. And the other thing I've noticed, I know he's technically absolutely brilliant, isn't he? And his feet are fantastic, and he's always just 1 inch the wrong side, so you don't hit him
Yeah,
flush. He don't really mind getting it, does he? To be fair, like
no.
he's been in with some big guys, and he don't mind taking one, does he? Really? He's not,
Mm.
he's never
Big
buckled,
Meech
has he?
nailed him with a massive right, and I thought, oh, he's done here, and he just smiled, didn't he? And he just changed it up,
Mm.
and then he came back.
He's got that weird.
You're like a sick, sick,
Carry on, yeah.
sickness, isn't he, about him? He's a bit eccentric
He's
as
got a
well.
weird. Yeah. Have you seen the clothes he wears and stuff? He seems a bit mental, doesn't he? You know what I mean? He's a bit weird, like Eastern European tough man. Like I don't know. He's a bit. I wouldn't fancy fighting him anyway. Put it that way.
You know, what he reminded me of. I forgot the guy's name, but years ago, Nottingham Forest, I seen him in a nightclub called Ritzy, and I think he was called Lars or something. He might have been an Holland guy, played for Forest. And
Yeah.
you might not remember him. And he had on these trousers and they went down and he had white socks on and black shoes. And it was like a no-no. And I was looking at all other Forest players around him, Roy Keane and Mark Crossley and all them. I kept
Yeah.
looking at him and I thought, I bet they terrorise him. You know what I mean? And Usyk's one of them sort of guys. You can't imagine him being Mr. Trendsetter, can you?
I've seen him in a couple of interviews. If you watch a couple of the interviews he wears, some of the clothes he wears are right dodgy, but no one probably tells him, do
No
they?
one's going to tell him that. Nobody's
Not
going to
unless you
tell
want
him
to end
that.
up on the floor.
Hey?
I said, not unless you want to end up on the floor.
Yeah, 2 seconds because I just dropped something. Oh, it's, uh, so, what round are we going for Usyk then, Michael? 8?
Four.
Fourth round, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, that's a bit brave, isn't it?
Yeah. I reckon less than four.
Right, okay then.
I can just see him hitting him whenever he wants to hit him, really. I can't. Dubois is not a boxer either. He's not get out the way, is he? And I think as well, Dubois, he's a bit chinny, but we can question whether he's got the heart either because, like, when he did quit against Joe Joyce, didn't he? Like, he quit. I know his eye was bad, but he quit. And the thing is, he's getting paid regardless. When he starts, he had no heart before. He was getting this multi-millions. So now he's going to be even, he's not going to want to be, if he's getting battered in there, he's not going to want to stay in there, is he?
No, but like I said, if he gets a lucky punch in, we're going to see a big shift in power. The power will shift to Bricktop, and the American TV will be all over him, and he will hold them belts like they are Furies to ransom, won't they? And Eddie will be on
The
outside,
only
won't he?
that's the best chance we've got of seeing Joshua fight Wilder if Dubois wins.
Hmm. But then he'll have another shot at it because there's Joyce and Zhang. He's getting them into position, isn't he?
Yeah, but Zhang will win again, I reckon.
Yeah, yeah. Okay then. Uh, Tommy Frank got beat last night in round one. The towel came
Yeah.
early in round one. What do you make of it all?
Oh, one of the guys down by my end when he's from Birmingham, and he Galal.
Yeah,
But I don't. He's I don't know really. Like obviously he was never going to win the fight, but I saw a video you put out earlier about how early they threw the towel in. He could have carried on, but I disagree about that. Like he was getting absolutely hammered, wasn't he? Like he was only going one way straight away, wasn't he? But I think they knew that before the fight went on. Like I don't. Obviously you're saying they were cashing out on him, but like he had no chance in there. Unless I actually rate that Galal fight highly. I don't think his brother's like that Cal. His brother's called Cal, and he was at the Olympics, and he's got another one, Gamal. I
yeah.
don't think they were that good. I think they've been manoeuvred better, like by Eddie Hearn. Like obviously, Cal won a world title, then he lost to that Chocolatito, didn't he? But that was a cash out fight for him. That was his last one. I think he was like protected well by Eddie Hearn, and I think his brother Gamal is not anything at all really. But I think this Galal is going to be really good. every time I've watched him so far, he's been good. I think he can punch harder than the other two brothers as well, which is something. And if you can box all you want, but if you can't get respect of your opposition by knowing that you can land a punch, then you can only go so far, I think, because at the top level, you'll just get walked down if you can't punch. Where Galal, I think he can, and he absolutely hammered Tommy Frank, didn't he? Obviously, you've got your opinions on Tommy Frank. I've not seen him that much. Don't really know. You've obviously been quite close to him and involved and all that over the years, but he was just getting absolutely hammered, wasn't he? I think the card was terrible. It was a poor main event, but it was a cash out fight, and that's what he did. And he went in there, got dropped a couple of times, and the towel came in. That was there's not much more you can say really. He didn't fancy it. His corner didn't fancy it, and he could have carried on, couldn't he? Obviously, but he would have. He wouldn't have gone much more than another round, even if he did carry on.
Do you think it were a good a good headline opponent for a show?
Nah,
A 4-0
shocking,
kid
really.
against Tommy Frank.
Nah, but obviously Eddie Earn, like this Andy Cruz, that obviously he was a real top level amateur, wasn't he? But this Galal's just won Olympic gold, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So when he's got these real top level amateurs like Andy Cruz, he was going, "Oh, I'd put him in with absolutely anybody fighting for the world title on his debut and all this." Well, that's fair enough then, but why aren't you doing a bit more with Galal, your father? Then he's on about, "Oh, I'll get him a world title really quick." Tommy Frank's not really a marker for anything, is he? He's not.
Now, my argument is he's had 5 fights now. Lomachenko were Olympic medalist, wasn't he? And he were fighting for a world
Yeah,
title. A couple of fights, wasn't he? You know, after a few fights. So and he were having defense.
second fight, he had a fight for the world title, didn't he? He lost,
He'd
but
had a few defences, hadn't he, by the time he was on his fifth and sixth, wasn't he?
yeah.
Okay, so we've covered that one now. Jason Cunningham lost in the first round. He's from this area. Tommy,
Down by me.
Tommy, eh?
That was in Telford near me,
Yeah.
Shropshire, against Liam Davis. Yeah.
Tommy Franks lost it first round. The White Rhino's up against its Big Freeze next.
Mm,
That make it an hat-trick for South Yorkshire fighters losing it first round.
no, I don't think he will. I know he's a bit way past it, and he's took a lot of fights what he shouldn't have probably took, and he's cashed out for the money and fought Lewis Ortiz on no notice, and fought Dillian White on no notice, and he's just took fights what he shouldn't have took at the wrong times just for a bit of money, and then he's obviously had a big gambling problem, didn't he, and all this kind of stuff that everybody knows about. But um, so he's way past his best now, Dave Allen, and whatever his best was, I don't really know how good that was either. But if he's trained, we don't know, do we? Because he's had so many fights in his career where he's not trained or he's not tried or he turns up and he's not even bothered, or do you know what I mean? But if he's put any training in at all, I don't think he'll win, but I can't see Fraser Clark knocking him out because I don't think Fraser Clark's a massive puncher either, is he? And Dave Allen, if there's one thing you can say about him, he's tough, isn't
Yeah, but do you think Dave's punch resistance might have gone now? Because he's in his 32nd year. He's had 4 fights in the last 50 months, and
he? Against nobodies as well.
against guys who've not got winning records. But do you think that
Mm.
they might the punch resistance could have gone with inactivity and not keeping himself in good shape and all that kind of thing?
I get that, and he's had a few bad losses. I know he got absolutely hammered by David Price as well, didn't he? But I get that. But his punch resistance going to have to have really gone to go that early against Big Freeze, isn't it? I think he at least goes a few rounds. That's my opinion, anyway. I mean, Marius Wack, he's just fought him, hasn't he? And his punch resistance ain't the best, and he's lost a couple of times, hasn't he? But he's old and past it, and he still couldn't even get him out of there. And I'd argue prime for prime, Dave Allen's just as tough as Marius Wack. Obviously not the same level of fighter, but toughness, both in the prime. Dave Allen had a big set of nuts on him, didn't he? So I don't think he goes too early. I think that'll go a few rounds, to be honest.
Well, he signed a 6-fight deal with Big Ron. He's had a few fights with Big Ron.
Four.
I don't think he's had 6. I don't. Has he had 4?
Four, yeah.
I don't think he's had. I'm not sure if he's had 4. I'm not sure if the Darch fight were with Big Ron. Not sure about that. Well, whatever he's had, I thought it was just a couple. But whatever fights he's had with Big Ron, if he signed a 6-fight deal, Big Ron's still got his claws into him, so he's not going anywhere, is he?
No,
but
that's the thing. But obviously, he's been sent there to lose, isn't he? He's
yeah,
he's going on a Sky show, boxer show, or whatever it is to lose. But I can't see him winning. He's doing a few interviews where he's saying, "Oh, I'm the favourite to win" and all this, but we don't know, do we? He says whatever in the build up to sell a fight. He's just having another kid coming up now, and he's got one kid already who's one. He's having another kid now, so he needs the money, doesn't he? So he needs to sell the fight. But I can't really have an opinion on Dave Allen fights because you never know how hard he's training or what he's doing. Do you know what I mean? He's come up with some decent performances when he beat Lucas Brown, didn't he? I know Lucas Brown was way past it, but like for Dave Allen's level, that's still a big win regardless, isn't it? But I just struggle to ever have an opinion because you're giving an opinion based off something where you don't know what the bloke's doing. He could be eating burgers and drinking beer now and sitting in the bookies, or he could be training. You've got no idea what Dave Allen's doing. He come out and say, "Oh, I'm training really hard." If he's training really hard, it'll be a decent fight. If he's not training really hard, I don't really massively rate Fraser Cart that much. That's why I don't think he's going to be anywhere. Like I think that David Adelaide beat him. And Fabio Wardley had absolutely put him on the moon, as you'd say, I reckon.
button moan.
Yeah, that one.
Uh, well, I've seen a few interviews with the White Rhino lately, and he's got this big black beard. He looks like some
Yeah.
serial. He looks like Peter Sutcliffe. He looks.
Rookie Gervais when he done that one. Yeah, I know. He's not. He
Hey,
said, "I'm not cutting my hair or do." He's got a massive beard and a massive load of hair, and he's not. He's training like the bloody gorilla man. I don't know what he's doing, but whether that means he's training and he's knuckling his head down, and you don't know, do you? He might be just sat in his bedroom all day. You've got
I
no idea
was
with
just,
him.
I was just about to say that he used to live at back of me, number 62, and let me tell you this. You don't know what you're going to get with him. He could turn up and be in right shape and bowl him over if he's in the mood. Or
Yeah.
he could just turn up and if he's in wrong mindset, he might just take punishment all night and then just go home and drink iron brew and eat lion bars all night. You don't know what you're going to get there. This is why he's intriguing, isn't it?
Everyone will watch it though, won't they? All watch it, but we've got just no idea. Even if you're like a top expert boxing, when you watch it all the time, you could turn around and have an opinion on a Dave Allen fight, and it's like the lottery, isn't it? You've got no idea.
It's a bit like Alex Higgins. You just don't know what you're going to get there.
Yeah, turns up drinking all the while. So I don't know. He did an interview the other day, and he said, "Oh, I've had so many fights where I've not even trained for." And you think, how are you even getting by at that level against some of these people with no training, like Luis Ortiz and that guy that was on the juice in France, Tony Yoka, and all that. And he's boxing at these top levels on main events on big cards when he's not even trained. Like he's tough, and you can't say that he's not tough.
Yeah, he's been knocked about though now, and if it goes like distance, this I fear for him because he's already talking like Riddick Bowe, isn't he?
Yeah, I know. And he's only what, 30, is he 32? No, he's 32.
30, coming up 32 next birthday, isn't he? Yeah.
Couple of young kids as well. Like you don't want to see him, you know.
No, no, he's a nice bloke, a nice fella, but I think boxing owes him for what he's put into it. My own personal opinion.
But that's the thing. He's one of them guys that'll just try and please everyone, and he's like a people pleaser, and so he'll do anything for anyone. He seems like a nice lad, and he's like do anything for anyone. Take these fights at short notice to probably please Eddie Earn. He was selling a lot of tickets. Everyone liked him. He was quite a popular guy, and so he's put a lot into the sport and probably not maximised himself.
Well, he couldn't sell 50 tickets on a Dennis show, so I think the ticket one, I think that's just a bit of a rumor. I think you can sell tickets if you're on a Matchroom show, but put him on another show, you don't do tickets.
Yeah, I
Uh,
know what you mean. Yeah,
Spotty
all that.
Frank, Spotty Frank abusing Bricktop in every interview in the last few days they've done. At the moment, let me just get it up. 2 seconds. We've got Eddie Watch on here and Frank Watch. Spotty Eddie, Spotty Frank, and Eddie Hillsworth. 259 interviews on social media in 13 days. The 2 week isn't up well tomorrow, Monday. So they're basically doing 10 each a day, 11 each a day, constantly, him and Spotty. And getting the narrative out there, and it's the same old stuff. It's even rubbing off on me, I think. We're like airborne repeaters, aren't we? But they've gone into full PR mode, haven't they? And what do you think about it all these interviews? And Spotty's had a proper go at Bricktop here. I've never seen Spotty go like that at Bricktop. Usually he tiptoes around interviews and he's normally diplomatic, isn't he? But he's getting to be a little bit aggressive, isn't he, Frank Smith?
He's probably letting the power get to his head, though, isn't he? Like he's sort of lined in for Eddie Hearn's job, isn't he? When he packs it in and whatever, like, they think highly of him at Matchroom, so he's probably getting a bit of over, like little man syndrome, where he's thinking he's, getting too cocky for himself. But I haven't seen too much of it. I don't really watch that much of it in the last week. But obviously, if it's all to do with all the Conor Ben and whatever, there's a load of them. They've had all these problems, haven't they, Matchroom? So I think obviously Bricktop's sticking his oar in and kicking them while they're down. They've had these problems with Conor Ben. They've got these. Everyone was kicking onto the show about Joshua and Dillian White, weren't they, and saying how bad that fight was with Robert Hilarious. And then you've got Boom Gardner that everybody knew was. I said that to my mate. Me and my mate went to the Canelo fight in Mexico a few months ago, and I turned around to him and I said, that Boom Gardner's definitely. You could see it on her, like she was massive, wasn't she? I mean, she looks fantastic, doesn't she? But she was on the gear. So I think obviously Bricktop's kicking him while they're down, isn't he? And he's having a poke to get himself up one and kick them while they're down. And Frank Smith's just into full defensive mode, isn't he, on Matchroom? They're having a tough time at the moment, isn't they? So I think you can see that they're like, when they know they're doing well, Matchroom, and they've got no competition. And when a few years ago, when the fans were like all behind Matchroom and all the shows were doing well and they were all selling out well, and there was no need to really compete with Bricktop, and they saw themselves as a league above him, then they didn't do any of this. So I think the fact that Frank Smith's doing all this shows you what a tough time Matchroom are having. It's not really a tit for tat. They wouldn't be bothering with this tit for tat stuff if they were confident in what they were doing and where they were going. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, mate, on that one. I see where you're coming from. Oh, exactly. Big Malk and Mr. T, they've piped up. They're sticking it to, well, Big Malk sticking it to Frotch, accusing him of nicking his material. So what I've done, Big Malk, because I know you're watching, because I'm going to put a Big Malk thumbnail on this. You see that Ferrari there? That's Frotch's first one. That's about 9 years ago, right? That's his first one. He got rid of that because he wasn't happy with colour. He's bought 2 more since then. So when you're an Hall of Famer, Malk, then you can open your mouth. Till then, pipe down. What do you think to Big Malk's kind of piggyback on back at Cobra's video, where he's basically told truth about what he thought about Joshua's performance?
To be fair, I've got a bit of respect for Cole Froch. I was never a massive, I probably shouldn't say this, but when he fought, I wasn't really that, I thought he was a good fighter and I thought he was tough and that, but I was a big Calzaghe fan, really, which obviously he's not great on this show. But since he's retired and that, you look back and you look at Froch's record, and he was tough, when he fought everybody, didn't he? But obviously he was signed with Eddie Hills, wasn't he? So I thought he would be a bit like Bell Lewis. Do you know what I mean? When he's on this YouTube, I actually subscribed to his YouTube channel the other day. And when he's on this YouTube channel, I was thinking, he's just going to be there bigging up the Matchroom fighters and saying what he's told to say, like Bellew does and all this. But he doesn't, does he? To be fair, he says the truth. So
Yeah.
I subscribed to it the other day. I thought, bloody hell, that's quite good. Do you know what I mean? He's like saying the real truth, what we all know is the truth. So I think a lot of people, when they've got that and they're saying, oh, he's nicking the content and all that, I mean, a lot of boxing opinions, you've either got one opinion or another. So when you're saying the same things as someone, you can't really be, accused of copying. It's just what people see. And when people tell the truth, a lot of people would say the same thing if they also told the truth.
Well,
So I think,
yeah, go on, sorry.
no, carry on. Sorry, that was it. Yeah.
I think you're right there, but I think that Big Mal, he just tried to piggyback on it because he's doing interviews and he's going, yeah, Anthony Joshua rung me in early hours and after I'd just got off at phone with Lennox. He's always name dropping and everybody rings him who needs an opinion. They're all ringing this go-to guy who's basically a failed boxer, never won out, failed promoter, failed manager, and he got sacked by Satanta and Sky. Pop, pop, bang. But he's the go-to guy, isn't he? He's now got a YouTube channel like me. But when I started mine, he used to hammer me. And now he's eating off my plate. Pop, pop, poppity pop. Do you know what I mean, Michael? So
Some of his opinions are some of the same as what are on your channel. So you're going to say he's copying your opinions then?
exactly. So pipe down, Big Malk, and you mate Mr. T. Well, let's have it right. He's that much of an expert. Anthony Yard's pushing 33-year-old. He's got a Commonwealth belt and an area belt up mantelpiece. Do you know what I mean? When you get a British title, then you can start piping up. People
And he's
start.
fighting Ricky
Hey,
Summers next, he is.
Ricky,
He's
he's
fighting a lad
fighting a
from right round by
journeyman.
me.
Yeah, exactly.
How can you go from Beterbiev and
Kovalev.
Kovalev to Ricky Summers? No disrespect. I mean, Ricky Summers literally lives within 3-4 miles of me. But like, it's absolutely bizarre, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
then he's going to fight Ricky Summers, beat him, and then who's he going to fight next? Bloody Bivol. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's from one extreme to the other, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just there's no
Confusing, isn't it? There's
consistency.
no in between,
He's
is
giving
there?
him He's giving him no chance, isn't he, to succeed? Like, there's no way you can succeed fighting a bloke that you weigh levels above, and then the next fight a bloke that you weigh levels below, and then keep yo-yo in between the two. You need a middle ground. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you there. Kevin Johnson, he's been fighting at weekend. Kevin Kingpin Johnson, chubby checker. He's 44
Has
now.
he?
You think he's going on too long, Kevin Johnson?
He should have been done about 10 years ago, didn't he? The only thing with him, he was like technically sound, where he didn't get hit that much, wasn't he? He was always hard to nail. I think he even took Anthony Joshua the distance, didn't he?
Yeah, well, he's got
So
21
like,
losses now. 21 losses. He's another Danny Williams, isn't he?
I was about to say, Danny Williams. Some of these guys, though, like I used to box at no level, like an amateur boxing, but like it was no, I wasn't a pro or nothing. But it's hard to give it up, and I had to give it up because I was injured. But it's hard to give boxing up. It's like a drug, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? And when you've done it all your life, and that's all you know what to do, you don't know what he's doing with his money either. You don't know if he's skinned. Obviously, he won't be getting paid fortunes for these fights now, do you? But some of the guys, like, you just struggle to ever stop doing. You know what I mean? If that's all you've ever done all your life for 30, 35 years since you've been 10 years old, what do you do when you say, well, I can't do it no more? So um, I'm not one to massively judge them for carrying on. Everyone's got their own reasons to do whatever they want to do in life, haven't they? But it's sad to see, like, he's finished and he's like ruining himself, losing every other week, 20 odd losses. He was a decent fighter, wasn't he? He was not elite, but he was decent, wasn't he? He don't deserve to be having a record as bad as what it looks now. Do you know what I mean?
Well, he's got a Russian citizenship now, Kevin Johnson, and he's fighting out there. And like I said, he's lost on points, and he's 21 losses now, and
How
he's
many times have been stopped?
oh God, I don't know how many times he's been stopped. He's been stopped a few times, and didn't Joshua do him?
Nah, he took Joshua 12 rounds. That's what I'm saying. I don't think he gets stopped all that much.
I thought Joshua knocked him out. I thought it was Fury that took him distance. He's been stopped three
I might
times,
be
and
wrong.
Fury took him 12 rounds. Fury, Joshua knocked him out in the second round. He's been stopped three
No,
times.
did he wrong?
21 losses,
That's
three.
not that bad.
Hey,
That's not that bad. 3 stoppages at his age in
he's
heavyweights, is
giving
it?
people rounds, isn't he? But like I said, he
Mm.
needs to turn it in now, pushing 44-year-old. Okay, then we'll finish off on this then. Where do you rank Joshua in the top 10 of heavyweights at the moment?
I'm not a massive fan, but I don't think there's that other much out there
Mm,
that's that much better than him. I think obviously Fury would beat him. I think Wilder would absolutely destroy him. Less
Usyk,
than three
wouldn't it?
rounds, I reckon, finish him. Usyk's obviously beat him.
Zhang.
Um, I reckon Zhang might beat him, yeah. I think Zhang might beat him. But from what I've seen of Hrgovic, I think Joshua would beat him.
Yeah,
So I reckon probably fifth, maybe five or six.
5 or 6, depending on Joe Joyce. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know whether Joe Joyce just struggled with the southpaw or not. We don't know, do we? I mean, to me, he couldn't miss with the left hand all night, that Zhang. So
Yeah.
whether that was just a really bad night because Joe Joyce couldn't deal with the southpaw, if that's the case, I think Joyce beats Joshua. But if it's not, and Joyce was never as good as what we thought,
Mm.
then you don't know about that. So he's like fifth or sixth, whether he's above or below Joe Joyce, in my opinion.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, Michael, you've spoke very elegantly, very clearly, and you've got a good boxing knowledge. You're good.
Nice one,
You're
Russell.
starting to pick it up, aren't you? A little bit better. You were crap first time, weren't you? 2 out of 10. I'm going to give you an 8 today.
Nice one, Russell. Appreciate that.
I'm pretty harsh, as you know, but yeah, I'm warming to you, Michael. I'm warming to you.
Nice one.
All right. Well, listen,
I'll
you
try and
take
cut the
care.
swearing out as well this week, Russell.
Yeah, you've done well, mate. Listen, boxing can send you crazy, mate. I can assure you.
I
So,
know. Nice one. Good to be on again, and I'll catch you soon, mate.
all right, then you take care, pal. Cheers, mate. Bye.
See you later, mate. Bye bye.
Bye.
How do I get off?
And that was Michael from, I'm not sure if it's West Bromwich. He's a West Brom fan, though. I remember West Brom back in the day when they had Big Ron as manager, Laurie Cunningham, Big Cyril Regis, Brendan Batson. Yeah, the 3 degrees they used to call them. They're a 18 back in there. I think they come second in league. Bit like when Villa pushed Man United, when they had Dean Saunders and Daly and Atkinson up front. They were a right team. Then Daly and Atkinson were unstoppable back in the day. Yeah, that's about it, really. There was something I wanted to say, and somebody keeps emailing me saying question. Oh, Porky, how do you keep your teeth so white? I don't normally indulge secrets, but if you want to keep your teeth white, here's an ink bicarbonate soda that will take the enamel off your teeth. How you keep your teeth white? Forget all that Listerine stuff from shop at £4 a bottle. It's a load of crap. Boiled kettle, put a cup of hot water in a cup, and then put a big spoonful, right, of table salt, right, or sea salt, but table salt's better. I'll just rinse your mouth out till all the lot's gone. Stir it and keep rinsing it. Once it cools down a bit, until all the lot's gone, rinse it for about 30 seconds each mouthful. That's what keeps your teeth clean and looks after your gums. All right? Dentist in Turkey told me that. And if you don't believe me, go look at any shark that you see in the sea. Because all they do all day, they've got salt water, aren't they, going through their teeth? And their teeth are white, aren't they? All right. Pop, pop, bang. Little Porky top gear, top tip there for you. All you people out there. Because we must fight Mr. Tooth Decay. And on that note, big shout out to Spartan Demolition. Pop, pop, bang.